What I'm hearing today is that SUNY needs more money. There seems to be a budget shortfall when it comes to things like the equal opportunity centers, the small business development centers, some of your child care services.
Right.
Then, of course, is the issue of the gap. How do we fund that gap between what TAP gives and what the actual tuition is for certain students? And then there's the minimum wage issue, of course, right, which the governor said wasn't going to impact tuition. And I said that it was, I think this time last year. And sure enough, here we are, that SUNY wants to increase tuitions for $250 a year. So there seems to be a funding issue. And obviously there are funds are limited in the state. And so you said something interesting earlier about providing the DREAM Act or the free tuition program, and that you do support providing free tuition for people who are here illegally. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So in comparison with when we have a student debt limit or load, I should say, for the average student here in the state of New York, $36,000, tuition, income eligibility, the income eligibility threshold for TAP students has not increased in 17 years, correct? From $80,000 household income is what it currently is, has not increased in 17 years. And the legislature in 2010 cut TAP for graduate students. You're saying of all these things, the priority should be to implement free tuition for individuals who are here illegally.
No, that would not be our highest. That's not. We're not prioritizing. So the board did do a resolution in support of the DREAM Act. We are in support of the DREAM Act. SUNY has the past couple of years, but on the budget, it's in the governor's budget. We haven't prioritized that.
Okay. So did SUNY do a resolution to support restoring TAP for graduate students that was eliminated in 2010? In the last 6 years, have they did a resolution supporting that?
No.
No. Okay. Has SUNY supported a resolution in the last 16 years to increase the household income eligibility for individuals that receive TAP so more of our middle-class families in the state could qualify?
No.
Okay. So the DREAM Act is a priority of SUNY doing a resolution for that, which is fine if that's what their view is. I disagree, and I think it's important to have that on the record because we have a lot of problems in the state, and obviously, money doesn't grow on trees here. We have to be careful
Right.
on where we're directing resources. So just for the record, I just wanted to know what your opinion was on the record. But I would just add that, whatever we can do to help our students who are citizens or legal residents first, I think that should be a priority for all of us. Now, if SUNY were to, if we were going to do this free tuition program, I would assume that many more individuals will want to go to SUNY school, right? Just because it's free now. So as opposed to going to a private university where you would have to pay tuition, I would assume that many of the students would say, okay, I'll go to SUNY school instead, obviously, because it's more affordable. Is that a concern to you at all? I mean, in terms of capacity, what are the average classroom sizes right now? And, how will that affect your system, do you believe?
Well, I think it's fair to say that SUNY has always been attractive to families because it is
Sure.
affordable, and I think we also say it's a high-quality opportunity.
Absolutely.
So I can't argue with that. I think that's part of why we attract students. We've been asked repeatedly today about our capacity, and while we've projected somewhere cautiously on 3 to 5% capacity in our community colleges, maybe as high as 10% less capacity at our comprehensive colleges, we have promised to give you a review of our capacity to answer that question.
And one thing just to note, because in addition to the free tuition proposal, there's also, it's my understanding from reading the budget language, that there's also a provision in there that would say any university that raises their tuition by $500 or more, students will no longer be eligible for TAP for that university. And that, I think, is problematic. So first of all, I don't think we should be punishing, which is beyond your role. It's not your role,
No.
but just to make a point, because it does affect you if everyone's going to go to SUNY now. The issue is if we're going to, we shouldn't be punishing a student because the institution raised its tuition. It has nothing to do with the students. It's not their fault. They don't have no control over that. So I think the issue for you would be then if they lose their TAP now going to a private university because that institution raised their tuition, then it's going to be overcrowding, I think, of
Right,
student.
it'll have
So
a
that's something to be
capacity
mindful
effect.
of, I think, as the negotiations continue. Thank you very much for answering
Yeah,
my questions.
thank you.